Good evening. I'd like to call to order our regular scheduled council meeting for Monday, August 19th at 7 p.m. We will start off by having the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those service members that have given their lives while defending our country. Would everybody please stand? Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Miller, can you take the roll, please?
Mayor Walker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs.
Here.
Councilmember Lynch. Here. Councilmember Squires.
Here.
Councilmember Earl.
Show Councilmember Earl excused, absent and excused, please.
Thank you. Councilmember McCarge.
Here.
Councilmember Kerwin.
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4, approval of the agenda as presented. Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the agenda for Monday, August 19th, 2019, as presented.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 6-0. Okay, I'm going to call up our fire chief, Chief Kathy Harmon. We have a new firefighter to get sworn in tonight.
Yes, that's correct, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Council, Doc, for the opportunity. It's my pleasure to be able to always hire or swear in a new firefighter. This hire is a result of a recent service retirement. Tonight, Gavin Guzmati, he is a former Marine. He served honorably in the United States Marine Corps from 2002 to 2008. During that time, he served as a military police officer and a Marine security guard protecting our embassies overseas. He was deployed to Afghanistan for 7 months between 2007 and 2008. He went into the military just after high school. He lives in Plymouth currently. After the military, he went into college. He has a bachelor's in public safety from the Eastern Michigan University, and then he's worked as a paramedic for 2 different private contractors, defense contractors, and he actually returned to Afghanistan in order to serve as a paramedic there. He's worked in the private sector in Michigan. He's come to us with some glowing recommendations, and his mother, Kate, will be pinning his badge on him. I also want to add that firefighter Rob Kazmati, who was also a Marine, is his cousin, and he works with us. So Gavin, would you please come up?
Mr. Miller, you want to do the honors?
I'm going to try not to knock this over.
I, Gavin Guzmati, do solemnly swear
I, Gavin Guzmani, do solemnly swear
to perform my duties as a firefighter
to perform my duties as a firefighter
for the city of Garden City
for the city of Garden City
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
to serve the citizens of Garden City
to serve the citizens of Garden City
with compassion, courage, and integrity,
with compassion, courage, and integrity,
to serve my commanding officer with respect and dignity,
to serve my commanding officer with respect and dignity,
and to uphold the laws and constitutions
to uphold the laws and constitutions
of the United States of America, the state of Michigan, and the city of Garden City.
of the United States of America, the state of Michigan, and the city of Garden City.
To the best of your ability, so help you God.
So to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I'd like to call up his mother to pin on his badge, Mrs. Kay Kosmati, and his father Guy is here also.
We'll do photos with the family and then with council. Step down here.
Step down here on the photo. Councilman, going to stand behind.
Do the family first and then the council.
Do this, Haley will just the family first.
Family first. Now council. At this time, I'm going to call up Kelly Kay from Wayne County to give a presentation.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Kay from the Wayne County Department of Public Services. I was asked to be here tonight to give a little more information about the Rouge Valley Sewage Disposal System, our long-term corrective action plan, and then the new rate package, which has been before you. Next slide. And one more. Next slide. Oh, there we go. Okay. The Rouge Valley Sewage Disposal System serves 13 communities, 12 of which are in Wayne County, part of Novi and Oakland County. We have 98 miles of sewer, and it transports the wastewater down to the Detroit wastewater treatment plant for treatment. This part of this system goes back to the 30s, so it's getting old. We need to do some work on it to help extend the asset life. But most importantly, since 1989, the system has been under regulatory mandates by the state of Michigan for sanitary sewer overflow controls. We've been making progress on that. We did a $21 million short-term corrective action plan, which we finished in 2012. Next slide, please. Now we're in the final stage, which is the long-term corrective action plan. And my colleague, Paul Slaga, came before you in June to describe that project to you. We have recently submitted the plan to the state of Michigan on July 1st to compliance with the order. We also submitted the plan to the state revolving fund program so that we will hopefully get a low-interest loan to finance this plan, which is a 20-year plan. Next slide, please. We're going to begin implementation of that plan, the very first phases, this year, which is in your rate package. And I want to get right to that. Next slide, please. So around the same time as our project plan for the long-term corrective action plan came before you, We also sent out to the communities back in May our proposed rate package for the year starting July 1st. That rate package reflects a 6.43 increase for prior rate from the prior rate years. And the things that are in the sewer rates, I understood that was one of your questions, we have basically two categories. Operating expenses, over 90% of that is what the Great Lakes Water Authority charges the county to take the wastewater from the Rouge Valley system and take it down to the plant and treat it. So over 90% of our budget is a pass-through cost from GLWA. We also have costs for engineering and construction projects such as the LTCAP that I mentioned we're going to be starting this year, so that's in the rate package. The county's operating expenses and some other charges. We have not come before you for 3 years with a new rate package. And we had to pay those GLWA charges out of our system reserve. So in this rate package, we do have a line item for replenishing that, that reserve fund. There's also a component for debt service. I mentioned that we completed the short-term corrective action plan in 2012. We were able to get a state revolving fund loan for that, and so we're paying off the debt on 2 previous projects for the system. Next slide, please. I understand that you all had some question about the fact that 3 of our communities that were previously in the Rouge Valley service area are leaving. Those communities are Canton, Northville, and Plymouth Townships. Collectively, they're known as the Western Townships Utility Authority, or WTUA. When they built WTUA, I think it was 10, 15 years ago, they built physical infrastructure which allows them to take wastewater to the east into the Rouge Valley system and to the west to the Ypsilanti Community Utility Authority. They notified us going on 2 years ago that they wanted to terminate service from Wayne County's Rouge Valley system and send it all to Yucca. So we have been negotiating that termination agreement. It is finalized and it's under review right now by the appropriate governing bodies. But one thing that I wanted to make sure and point out to you is one of the key components in that agreement is that they will pay off their share of the debt for those 2 existing loans that I mentioned. So that's in black and white and big red letters that they are paying off their share of the debt. However, because we went from 16 communities down to 13 communities, future costs for our operating expenses and debt service for new projects like the LTCAP will go up because there's less communities. But the service agreement between the county and Garden City and all of our customers does have a provision that service can be terminated. So they asked to exercise that, that provision, and they had the infrastructure in place to take their wastewater elsewhere. So that's where we are. Next slide, please. So in terms of the rate package that was submitted to you, and which I understand you recently approved, Garden City's allocation of the total costs for the next year for the Rouge Valley Sewage Disposal System was $3,228,220.27. And I've put the breakdown here between the operating expenses. Again, 90% of that is the pass-through cost from the Great Lakes Water Authority. the first year of doing this new construction project is in there as well. And then your piece of the debt service on those 2 existing loans is shown as well. So I understand that you all did some calculations about how much that would be per household in your city. I was recently given an updated number from city staff that there are 11,800 households in your city. That translates to $5.45 per month per household. The increase is $5.45 per month. Of that, $4.55 is those pass-through sewer charges. You can see that just under $1 per household will go toward the new, the cost for the new construction project just for the next year. And I'm particularly pleased to show that the county's costs and debt service and those other charges have actually gone down 7 cents per household per year in this new rate package. So that is the breakdown of the increase by household for the rate package that is in effect July 1st for Rouge Valley. And one more slide, please. So, to summarize, we have an order from the state of Michigan that we have to begin designing construction of the long-term corrective action plan. That it will begin this year. For now, we are funding the first part of that with just the regular O&M budget, but we are working to obtain a low interest. They're usually 2.5% interest rate state revolving fund loan to finance the rest of it, and that will have a positive impact on the rates for future years if we can get this low interest financing. And the rates for this year include, again, the GLWA charges, the first year of the construction project, debt service, and our operating expenses, and it does include the fact that those 3 communities have left the system. So that was my quick overview. Be happy to take any questions if
Anybody have
anyone
any
has any.
questions for Ms. Cave? I think you explained it pretty good.
I was going to say, I was quite pleased. You
Yeah.
explained it very clearly so we could understand it. We appreciate that, especially about Watua. We didn't know that they were going to be paying off the debt, which makes a big difference as well.
That was a big fight,
I bet it was.
but we prevailed, so.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Anybody else from the table? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to comments from state and county officials. I see we have Lisa Hicks Clayton here from Senator Betty Jean Alexander's office.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Clerk, Treasurer, and City Manager, of course. Good evening, and good evening to the residents that are here this evening. Again, my name is Lisa Hicks Clayton. I'm the Community Liaison for Senator Betty Jean Alexander's office. And first, we wanted to say congratulations and thank you to the Garden City Kiwanis Club for a really well-done job with the Kids' Day in the park. So the senator was able to come out and visit with everyone, and what a wonderful event that you do every year, and it's so impactful and so great for your families in your community. So again, congratulations on a job well done. The second thing I have is we don't have an update from Lansing because they haven't been in session, but the senator will be back in session. The Senate is back in session this week, so hopefully next time I come to see you, we'll have an update, and hopefully it'll be good news on the budget. So we're waiting for that to have some action, since it has been one of those summers where Some have taken the summer off in Lansing, but we're still doing the work in district. The last thing I have, and I know our state representative, Joelle Jones is here, so I don't know if you were going to share this, but I'm going to go ahead if you don't mind. I shared it before, but I'm here to do a call of action this evening, to ask for your help. I did meet with your Commission on Aging last week, in a really nice group that you have, by the way. The work they're doing for our aging population in our communities is outstanding, and they should be commended. But I'm going to ask for a little bit more help, if you would. The Elder Abuse Town Hall meeting is next Monday, so a week from today, on August 26th, and that's 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Booker T. Dozier Recreation Center here in Inkster, right down the street on Middlebout, 2025 Middlebout Road in Inkster. And this is really important when we talk about elder abuse, because I hear it all the time at this point. And it's, whether it's first responders, whether it's in nursing homes, or even just those who are independently living, there are so many things that happen or can happen to our elders. And I do believe they've earned respect and to live with dignity and to not be victimized. So with this, Attorney General Dana Nessel has been, not only does she have a task force addressing elder abuse, she's going around having these town hall meetings all throughout the state of Michigan, and she's going to be in our neck of the woods next week. If you would please help me get the word out, because we do want to hear from people. We want to know what's happening. We want to see it, because people see it and experience it, and we really want to be able to understand so we can move forward with legislation to protect people. And I've shared this before. You know, the character of a society or a nation is determined by how it treats its most vulnerable. And that includes your aging population, your elderly, as well as disabled and children and even animals for that matter. But in this case, we're talking about our elderly, our parents, our grandparents, your neighbors, your friends. We really want to do what's best. What I want to leave with you too this evening is a phone number. If someone needs a ride to the town hall meeting, we don't want that to prohibit them from coming or not coming because they don't have a ride. So this number, if you need a free ride to the town hall meeting, please call 313-561-2382. I'm going to repeat that, 313-561-2382. Also, if you need some assistance with accessibility, ADA compliance, whatever, if you have a request for accommodations, please let us know. And you can call 517-335-7625, 517-335-7625, and that is the Attorney General's American Disability Act Coordinator. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, I'll call up our state representative, Joelle Jones.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. As Councilwoman Clayton just pointed out, we have the Elder Abuse Town Hall on Monday. We will not be back in session probably until next week, so I don't have any updates from Lansing and Zachary right now. Still dealing with the budget. As I was telling a couple folk, we're kind of in a compromising position since we had signed that auto insurance bill in before actually wrapping the budget up. So hopefully we do get it taken care of when we get back next week. Also just want to let you all know, please send out your prayers and your good thoughts for Preston. He actually would have been here this evening, but his niece is on life support. So if you get a chance to just, send a quick prayer out for him, or even, shoot him a message or give him a call, that would be greatly appreciated. Besides that, I don't know if y'all have any questions.
Anybody
or
have
comments.
anything for Mr. Jones?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, and I don't see Mr. Anderson here. Oh, Mary McClendon, come on up. I was looking for Glenn
I was
Anderson.
going to say Glenn sits there and Mary sits
Yeah.
on that side.
You didn't see me, Mayor.
No, I
Okay.
didn't. I was
Good
looking
eve-
for Glenn Anderson.
Okay, we look a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're better looking, I'll give you
Okay,
that.
well, thank you. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council, to the City Clerk, Treasurer, and to the City Manager, and to the fine citizens of Garden City. You all know who I am. I'm Mary McClendon from the Office of Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, and it's always a pleasure to be here in Garden City. I won't be before you long. I just want you to know that even though there's no coffee hours right now, the commissioner is working in behalf of you and all the other communities that he served. The coffee hours will resume on September the 9th. So put that on your schedule, September the 9th. And you all are welcome to attend as you have in the past. Also, the commissioner at this time is working on the budget. The budget is before them at this time. The budget is very, very important because it will begin October the 1st. So you can see that they're working very diligently to make sure that that budget is in place. That's the 2019-2020 budget. And that's, right now, they're looking at a proposal of $1.63 billion, okay? And that's the budget that they're reviewing at this time. And that's at the desk of the Ways and Means Committee. And the commissioner is on that committee. Commissioner Anderson is on that committee, and he'll be working diligently to make sure that the county has what it needs to provide to its citizens. Also, I want you to know that the census is coming up quickly. So be sure that you know where your citizens are. It's important that you include them in your numbers so that you will get your fair share of federal dollars in your community. Those dollars are very important, and it will set your agenda for many, many years. So make sure that you know where your residents are and who needs to be included in that census. I also want you to know that the commissioner he wants you to know what happens with the commission. He believes in transparency. He wants you to be able to know what happens at those meetings and how the vote went, how he voted even for your community and the others in his district. So with that, he was part of a team to try to get it where the meetings will be online. So you can look at those videos later on. You can see what was on agenda. You can see how he voted and how the commission voted at large. But unfortunately, that was voted down. But I want you to know that he does want you to know, because we know that you can't go downtown. I don't know if you've been downtown lately. Detroit is not the same Detroit that it used to be, and it is busy, 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 cars, people, and that's a good thing. We're not complaining, we're happy. That's a good thing, but at the same time, it's hard for you to go down in the middle of the day to see what's happening at the commission level. So I just want you to know he believes that you should know exactly what's going on and how he voted. And that's all that I have today, and I'll say again, it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no community events, no petitions or communications, no public hearings tonight. Move on to item 11, the consent agenda.
Mayor?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda, item 11A, 1 through 4.
Support
And
from
if I might-
Councilmember Squires.
Elaborate on number 4.
Yep.
It's a mayoral appointment for the Recreation Commission for Jennifer McConnell with a term ending 12/31/2022.
Okay. Any further comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Move on to item B, our action items. Number 1, special land use. Mr. Doherty.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. This is brought to us through the Planning Commission, already approval, special land use for medical marijuana grow operation, processing facility, as well as provisioning center at the vacant property located at 32832 Industrial Drive. Now, the council has an option, 2 options for tonight. The first option, option 1, is to consider not taking the application under consideration, which means automatically that the Planning Commission approval will pass, and it'll just be as is. If we see some concerns or issues, we can go to option number 2, which in turn the City Council then would vote to call for a public hearing for Monday, September 23rd. So the 2 considerations is either basically a no vote, which automatically passes the Planning Commission, their approval, automatically this would pass, or B, which is the choice to then call for a public hearing and go through the process again and reevaluating. Therefore, then the planning commission's decision would be just a recommendation to the council and not a final decision.
If I may,
Councilmember Lynch?
is this number 2 or 3?
This is number 4 has become number 2.
Number 4 has become number 2.
Yeah.
So this is number 4.
This is the
Okay.
Schaefer screws. We thought
I
we'd
got
screw up
that
3 if
straight.
we changed 3.
Councilmember Jacobs?
Yeah, I move to go with option 1. That's to elect not to take the application for the special land use for 32832 Industrial Drive under consideration. The recommended approval by the Planning Commission becoming final.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Lynch. Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 2, zoning text amendments, schedule a public hearing. That's just to schedule a public hearing.
Mayor,
Councilmember Kerwin.
motion to schedule a public hearing on September 9th, 2019, on amendments to zoning ordinance regulations for Section 154.022, Section 154.037, Section 154.606, Section 154.352A, Section 154.352A1, and Section 154.354B1.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Lynch. Any comments from the table?
Will these be individual public hearings?
It will be one public
One,
hearing.
They can talk
but-
about any of them, right?
Individual.
But we will
votes.
talk, we can talk about all of them, but I would appreciate at the time if we make separate motions for each of the sections that we do talk about amending.
Okay.
Just a question. So there's several ordinances. If we're talking about one ordinance, if somebody can talk on that, then we start another ordinance, that same person can come up and talk about each and every one of the ordinances.
Not necessarily during a public hearing, it'll be just as a group, people can talk about individual ones. Then when it comes to the council under action, we'd be talking about each one individually. Then there won't be a second public comment at that point.
Correct.
I would like to see the public hearings separated for each ordinance, because some people will want to discuss, have the 3 minutes for each one of these ordinances.
Well, no, they could do that during the
Oh.
public hearing part, but when it comes to the voting in the end, it'll be under B1, it won't be public comment again, it'll be decision by the council
Oh,
for each of
okay.
those individually.
I understand,
So, yeah, so we couldn't
No,
do
no,
that. Yep,
no,
we're good.
that's what I
Yeah, no,
wanted to make
certainly,
sure.
3 minutes per each topic,
Okay,
per person.
thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 3, Property Convenience Neighborhood Stabilization Program. Mr. Miller.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this is the beginning of the process to convey the 2019 Wayne County right of first refusal properties to the developer that was selected back in, I think, in May. We did receive 3 houses and 2 lots through the process, and we'll be working to do the introduction of this ordinance for the sale of the homes themselves, not the lots. I'm working on another program to sell the lots. Doc has a draft of it in his office to go out for a request for proposal for the lots. They are buildable lots. They're in nice neighborhoods. I think it would be an easy build, and of course, to increase our tax base, new houses is the best thing we can do. So that's kind of a separate item. This is looking at the conveyance of the houses, and I would like to request to have a public hearing to do the conveyance on Monday, September 9th.
Mayor,
Councilmember Kerwin.
motion to introduce the attached ordinance intended to convey properties obtained as part of the 2019 Neighborhood Stabilization Program, right of first refusal, and to call for a public hearing for Monday, September 9th, 2019 at 7 p.m.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any further comments?
Yes, I wanted to correct, it is 4 homes. One of the houses we got last year, so we got 3 this year, 1 last year that we'll be putting in.
The first year, we had 17, so
Correct.
this is good that the
Correct.
county's really working on helping people to keep their houses, so.
Yes.
It's definitely went down, so. Any other comments from the table? From the general public? Mr. Jones? This comment's just on the public hearing, because we'll have comments at the public hearing.
Well, my question only is, are any of the 4 homes occupied?
Of that, 2 of them currently are.
Thank you.
Okay. And we can have more discussion that night. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 4, proposed stormwater management ordinance scheduled for a public hearing.
Mayor,
Councilmember Squires.
I move to introduce the attached stormwater management ordinance for illicit discharge elimination and call for a public hearing for Monday, September 9th, 2019 at 7 p.m.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Kerwin. Mr. Owen, our DPS Director.
Mayor and Council, the state of Michigan has mandated all the communities in the state to adopt a stormwater management ordinance for the illicit discharge elimination. This was drafted by the Rouge Community Alliance. It was reviewed by our city attorney. I made a couple changes to it also, and he approved that. This basically will regulate the pollutants that go into the stormwater system and establish some legal authority to ensure the compliance.
Okay, and like I said, we'll have discussion at the public hearing that night, so. Thank you. Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Omen. And item 5, purchase of streetlights for Maplewood. Mr. Doherty.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the Mike Jones doctrine here. If we remember, 6 months ago, Mike Jones came to the microphone, was concerned about the darkness over at Maplewood, which absolutely makes sense if you've been over at our senior center, rec center, community center, as well as the soccer fields out there. So as we're doing the road work and the sidewalks, instead of relying just on the few little street lights that we have out there, this will be 9 acorn lights, more for walking pedestrian traffic down the sidewalk from the corner of Craig and Maplewood down to the first home just past the Maplewood Center. So this would allow lighting for anybody walking out of the community center, getting into car parking that we have there, as well as when the soccer fields at the end of the evening, young children and families finish off, they're going to have lighting also to get into their cars at that point. So it'll end up finishing off that drive very nicely with these acorn lights down the sidewalk.
Councilmember Lynch.
I move to approve the purchase and installation of 9 new streetlights for Maplewood Avenue from the Detroit Edison Company in an amount not to exceed $38,533.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Kerwin. And this is paid for out of the road fund, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Part of the road construction. Okay. Any other comments from the table?
One, Mayor.
Mr. Jacobs.
Are these going to be LEDs, or did we look into them, or do Acorn not come in
Actually,
LEDs?
we didn't have that conversation. I'll check into it, find out for you to make sure.
I would guess they would be nowadays, pretty much.
It's similar
everything
lights we just
LED.
put on Manor Park Road this past year, and
Yeah.
I believe they are, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think they are
I
too.
think
I have
everything's
another
LED
question.
now.
I'm just checking.
Councilmember McCarge?
Because I don't have a clue what this means, but it does, the requested customer lighting design meet IESNA recommended practices, and we say no. I have no idea what that means. Number 9 in the chart. I think this is
I believe it's a
really
safety.
a good idea for the better lighting, because 20 years ago, it was a major problem. We kept trying to adjust the outside lights so people could safely, walk around the community center, but I just didn't understand what that meant.
We'll get to the end of the meeting, otherwise I'd have an answer for you.
Okay. I should have, I apologize, I should have called earlier
No,
and asked.
It's one of those legalese comments in here that I guess everyone just agrees automatically.
I try to call ahead on those, but that one just caught my eye.
Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes 6-0. Okay, at this time, we're going to have public comments for items that were not on the agenda tonight. If you wish to speak, please come up to the podium and state your name and there's a 3-minute time limit. This is your time to make a comment or a statement. It is not the time to go back and forth with council members. Anybody wishing to speak? Mr. Jones?
Mike Jones, Donnelly, Garden City. I just have a question. Has the city made a decision about parking for the Alberts on the alley, whether it's going to be allowed across the middle build or not?
Oh,
Okay.
You have not made a decision?
that's the
Public hearing next week,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
Or 2 meetings.
Next meeting. Mr. Molnar?
Wasn't sure I could find my way up here after all the smoke Wayne County just blew, but I made it. And a good shout out to the Westland Fire Department. My daughter happened to live over there, and they helped her friend out, and they were very courteous. I went over there, of course, when she called me, but they were there already, and they helped her out. And I just wanted everybody to know that it's not, Garden City Fire Department, Police Department, everybody knows they're the best. I mean, there ain't no doubt about that part. But the rest of the firemen and policemen out there too on the streets, you know, you got to start showing them a little respect. I see this stuff on TV and it's a little sickening, where they're throwing water on policemen and stuff in New York, you know, that's sickening. But them bums that throw the water, when they get in trouble, they'll be the first one to call for help. And the same firemen and policemen, God bless them, will be there to help them out. That's all I want to say, you know.
Thank you. Anybody else? City managers report.
No, I have nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember McCarge.
Just want a couple shout outs. First of all, for the Kiwanis Kids Day. The city just always comes together and helps out so much. Police and fire departments were there. The Commission on Aging, Maplewood Center, Red Hats, the Parks and Recreation Department, DPS staff, the Community Resource Center. Everyone assisted in some way or another, and it just certainly helped to make a nice afternoon. And then a week later, the Bacon Run, and I think Dan said something that, Dan Plamondon, Director of Parks and Rec, said there, he kind of mentioned the number of 400 runners, so. And he was a little nervous because I think people were waiting because it's been such a hot summer. But Ryan, our engineer, he came in third in the 5K, so I was impressed. But the most impressive were the little kids. There were some kids running the half mile that they probably learned to walk 6 months earlier, and yet they did it. They did great. So it was really fun to see from 2 years old, and I would venture to say we probably had a runner or two that was well into their 70s. So it was a great morning, and again, police, fire, all the volunteers, and it was just an awesome thing. And when I was at the Bacon Run, I was chit-chatting with Monica Bolton from the Resource Center, and we were talking about her schedule, and I know this weekend I'm going to Kiwanis leadership program, and she said she couldn't go because she's going to a leadership program. And I said, well, what's that about? And so she was telling me that it was part of the Michigan Municipal League, and I'm not sure. Actually, I went home, and today I was researching it because I didn't quite understand it. But anyway, she was one of 30 women invited to attend the leadership conference. 100 women had applied, and 30 women were accepted. And it's for the Michigan Municipal League 1650 project, Women's Municipal Leadership Program. And I thought 1650 is kind of a weird name. So what it says is that women make up 50.8% of the people in Michigan. and only 16% of our city managers are women. So the Michigan Municipal League is trying to get more women into leadership roles, so they're giving these leadership conferences. So congratulations to Monica. She sure has been a leader here in Garden City with all of the grants and stuff. And I'm kind of glad she wasn't here because she'd probably give me dagger eyes for mentioning this, but congratulations. Oh, Music in the Park. I hope somebody else can mention about Music in the Park.
Go for it. August 22nd.
Music in the Park, this Thursday. Garden City Business Alliance, with several businesses supporting it, starts at 6. Get there early if you want a good seat. Last year it was just jammed. It's such a nice evening. But what I did read is that they're collecting canned goods. It's free, of course. But then they're collecting canned goods for the home pantry. And they've also added that the Rotary Club is collecting school supplies that will be handed out to students in Garden City. So if you have some extra paper, pencils,
Markers, crayons.
you know, any of those things, you know, help, you know, you can bring those things. So I think I've got everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kerwin?
Nothing tonight.
Okay, Councilmember Lynch?
I'll just say ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Jacobs?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Gavin. Seems like every meeting we're hiring someone else due to retirements and moving on, but they're all younger, and hopefully they'll stick around for a while and give us the great service that we're used to. So congratulations. Also, the American Legion had their golf outing on Saturday. Beautiful day, and as usual, the American Legion, I think they had 36 foursomes out there, with the money going to GCYA and to the veterans. So a shout out to those guys. They did a tremendous job with the prizes and dinner and getting it all together. And that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Squires?
Okay, this is for veterans that might be out there. The second annual Military Appreciation Football Game will be held on Friday, September 13th at the Garden City High School football field. All veterans are admitted free to the game, and all others pay a $5 admission. Halftime activities will be presented by the high school, and this is in cooperation with the American Legion Post 396. So all your veterans, if you know of someone that's a veteran, let them know if they like football to come on out. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Miller?
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay. I also want to say great job, Kiwanis, for the Kids' Day in the Park. To Dan Plamondon and all the volunteers, great job on the Bacon Run. I was there all morning, and that very well organized, and had over 400 runners, and it was another great day in Garden City. Congratulations to Gavin. Welcome to the Garden City Fire Department. We got a great city, and I'm sure you will love working here. Roads. Maplewood is done. This week, they'll be doing sidewalks and approaches, driveway approaches. And then next week, clean up and then putting the grass, either seeding or sod. We're not sure what they're doing yet on that. We're looking into that. But our roads are getting fixed. And then August and September, we'll be doing several asphalt streets with the Cape Seal. So there's more road work coming. But we've had a lot done already. They're starting on Marquette for concrete sectioning. We're doing between Farmington and Radcliffe right now to try to get that done before school starts at Farmington Elementary. But we will be going from Cadillac, which is the first block east of Vinoy, all the way to Radcliffe on Marquette, both sides. So a lot more road work coming. The streets are getting better. Property values are going to go up. So it's a great thing. Don't forget Music in the Park this Thursday night, 6 o'clock. That's all I have. No further business. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.